Hello all. Okay, so for the rope rescue stuff, we're going to go over a couple different things. This is kind of the intro part. We're not going over knots or anything. This is physically how to set up the system and what it should look like. So the collection plate and all this stuff is going to be in the top of the bag, pre-connected to the rope. This is what it should look like. So on the very top, connected to here, you're going to have your anchor strap. And if for some reason your anchor strap doesn't work or it's not long enough, you've got 3 pieces of webbing to pick from here, and you also have extra webbing in the bag that you can use. So this is a step-by-step process. The MPD is already in place, so just leave it alone, okay? So, number 1, after we lower the system, we'll lower the person, the rescuer, we're gonna lock it off so we can transition to a hauling system. That is this. Then we're gonna put in our change of direction, which is gonna be this. And then this is gonna be your secondary anchor tie-off and your change of direction to complete the Z-rig. We're going to go over all that in detail, but this is how the collections plate should look. These are the carabiners that you need to use. These are locking carabiners. They need to be used for rope rescue, so make sure you use them. To lock them, there's a little arrow. Twist it up. Locked. Unlocked, okay? All of this we leave unlocked so you can take it off real quick and use it. The one that we leave on there locked is the MPD because it needs to be locked right away. Same thing with the anchor. We leave this unlocked so that you can take it on and off easily, but it needs to be locked when you're done, okay? So, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, okay? Okay, so we're just gonna walk through this slow. Firefighter Paige is gonna be our rescuer. So when you are a rescuer, you're gonna take a couple things down. So, out of your bag, you want to take your victim harness, take the red backpack and the monitor. Generally speaking, it's probably going to be whoever the ALS person is. Most likely the engineer is going to be the one going over the side, potentially the backseat firefighter going with them. So, we're going to give you that to keep with you. So she can clip that right on the side. There's a couple different collection points. So there's this one, that's for big stuff if you want. This is tying stuff too. So this is actually sewn into here. This is rated to get pulled on. This is not. So just keep that in mind. So first thing you want to do is you want to choose a suitable anchor point. For this demonstration, we're going to use the pole in the yard just because it's a fixed point. Generally speaking, you're going to use the rims on the engine, the bumper potentially, something that's solid enough and you're going to be able to hold all the weight that you need to hold. And your secondary anchor, same thing, okay? So first thing we're going to do is we'll set up our anchor. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. This is an adjustable anchor strap, okay? So you can make it longer if you need to. We leave it all the way out because it's easier to pull it up short than to try and extend it, okay? If you need it to be shorter, just pull on the tab. The whole thing goes up. If you want it to be longer, just do the same thing in reverse. So we'll shorten this up a little bit. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can just go straight around like this, connect to that, or the smaller or the more rounded of the two, you can go around your object and pull through. Either way is acceptable and the strap is rated for each way. For ease of use, we're going to just do it this way. Try and get all the twist out of it if you can. If you can't, it's fine. If you have an extra tail, lark's foot it if you can. Or for this instance, we're just going to throw it out of the way. Okay. So we're going to connect to this. These always go up so that you can keep the locking mechanism in your view. Okay. So that's locked in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our rescuer online. So this is the simulated edge of the road, right? So once the rescuer gets online, we're not going to step over the rope, anything like that. Okay. So. Okay, so we're going to clip in, lock it, She's gonna check it. Then we're gonna do a safety check, make sure everything's locked, everything's tight, ready to go. She's got all the equipment she needs. I'm gonna ask her, rescuer ready?
Rescue ready.
She's gonna say ready. She's obviously gonna have gloves and a helmet on for this demonstration. We're not wearing any of that. And then we're gonna go ahead and lower her, okay? So, for lowering, you never wanna be here, because if for some reason that fails, this whole thing is gonna fly right at you. So you always wanna be on the other side of the rope, taking care not to step on the rope. For the MPD, you'll see here, it says pull out and turn to release. That is how you release it. Just that simple. Pull out and turn. Okay? When you pull out and turn, she can go. Right and left slows your descent. Okay? The other to release it, you can have extra tension by doing this and pulling back. Generally speaking, one rescuer is not going to put a lot of tension on it. So when she's ready to go, she's going to say ready to lower, and I'll say lowering.
Ready to lower.
Lowering. So she's going to tell me how fast. She's going to tell me I reached the patient, and she's going to tell me what she needs. A couple things that are important. I need to know whether she's going to be online or offline because it changes some of the things that we do. So I'm going to ask her for a CAN report, which is conditions, actions, needs. So she's going to tell me how many patients she has, what she's going to be doing, and what she needs. Okay, so we're gonna, for this scenario, she's gonna be online and she's gonna need some other. Okay, so I let this go, right? Obviously, normal circumstances, I wouldn't do that. What we would do is there's a parking brake right here. So if you put the parking brake on, no matter what you do, and you twist this, it's not gonna release it. But we need to get this set up so that we can change over to a hauling system. So what we need to do is, number one, right? We're in numerical order. So we're gonna put a Prusix on here. Okay, we're gonna wrap 3, pull 2. We're gonna make sure we dress our knot. Make sure all the edges are right. Okay, and then once it's set, you're gonna check it, right? Give it a tug, make sure it locks off. Move it up. We're gonna make sure that this is up like it's supposed to be. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Lock it off, and then we're gonna set it, right? Gonna give it a good tug and set it. At this point, this is locked off with a secondary brake, so we can move the MPD. So we can take the parking brake off, we can release it, take the tension out, right? There we go. Take the pressure off of it. Once we do that, we can take this off. We're gonna unlock it. Like that. Okay. We're gonna create some extra line for ourselves. The next thing we need to do is put in our change of direction. So, we're putting in the change of direction because when we haul the people up, we need to be able to pull straight in line along the road to give a good pull. And so it's an even pull, okay? So pulley, right? So when you put the pulley on, you want the top to face where your change is gonna be. So you're gonna unlock this like this, put the rope in. Your change of direction is this way, right? So you want the top to face that way, okay? Come through, lock that off. At this point, here's your last stage. So you're gonna grab this, which will be our Z-rig setup later, and then this is all your extra webbing, whatever webbing that you're gonna need, okay?
Okay,
so,
cut.
Okay, so we have to move this to go to our secondary anchor. So it's important, the MPD is only designed to pull in line, okay? So if you try and pull it like this, you can do it, but it's easier if you tilt it vertically, pull your release bar, and keep tension on it and walk. If you keep just a little bit of tension, you're gonna find your anchor point, you're gonna go a little bit past, You're gonna pick your appropriate size webbing. The webbing itself, each piece of webbing has a number on it. That's how many feet each webbing is. So we've got 12, 15, 20, and 5. Okay, so this is a big tree. So we're gonna pull out the 20. And I just put this back on my belt loop. The belt loop's not rated. Okay. If you have a second person, this is a lot easier.
Blackout?
Yeah. Okay. The goal is to try and get as many wraps around your object as you can. Then we'll tie a water knot in it. It's important to keep the twist out of this. The more twist you have, it actually decreases the rating on your webbing. Also other objects like your trees. Okay, now that our water knot is tied and our anchor is secured, you're gonna hook your MPD onto this. Okay, so this is important. If you guys see, you're gonna look at it and it's upside down. Well, the way this thing is designed to pull is it pulls in line, okay? So to keep it pulling in line and have the brake work, we have it upside down. That way it keeps pulling appropriately. If you put it right side up, the problem is when you go to build your hauling system, it will be in the bite. So I'm standing in the bite, which I normally wouldn't be, and that's the big V. You don't ever want to be in that because if something fails, that's where everything's gonna fly to, okay? So the other thing with this is when it gets loose, there's a little bit of play, so you want to make sure you set it. So take up your slack that you need, give it a little yank. Obviously, I would be on this side normally. Give it a little yank, make sure you set it. Once it's set, this is when you're going to build your Z. So if you build your Z up here, towards the very beginning, you don't have to reset your project. Okay? So you're gonna bring your rope, make yourself a loop. Walk it in on your pulley. Okay, so this is where your change of direction is. This is pointing towards that. You can walk it here. You're ready to do it again. Think your best on the rope. You can give this a tug like that to make sure it's going to pull appropriately. Lock this in, lock that in, take up your slack. Now you're ready to haul. So whenever they're ready, you're ready to haul. You're going to have a rescuer here and they're going to tell you when they're ready to haul. So you're going to check with the rescuer, make sure they're ready. If you want to take up and haul, you're going to go like this. If you want to stop, fist. If you need to, whatever reason, lower, you can still do that. You just have to put somebody at the MPD, and this is going to be lower, okay? So you're always going to have somebody at the ed. Rescuer ready? Ready! Okay. And he'll say, haul team ready. We'll say, haul team ready. He'll say, haul away, okay? So we're not doing this. We're grabbing a piece of rope. Everybody's 3 feet apart if you have multiple people, and you're just walking, okay? You want to go over there, Zach, and reset that crossing? So when you get to the end and you need to reset, nope, the red one. Whoever's minding in the corner is going to reset that crossing so that you don't see any lag, okay? You're going to walk this back up. Try and walk it all the way up as far as you can. That way you get the max pull. But I'll show you what happens if you don't reset it. So you just let go. You didn't want it. You didn't want that much. So what is the reason? So you're just going to keep repeating this motion until they're all the way up to the road. So it's very important that you stay out of the vector, as we showed on the video. If anything fails, that's where the equipment is going to go to, and you don't want to be in that space if at all possible. So remember, our rope system is combined of several items, but the basic premise is we have an anchor that is hooked to a collection plate. We use the MPD for lowering and then raising, and then on the collection plate we have change of direction, a secondary brake, and then the last section is to do the secondary anchor point and be able to build the Z-rig at the very end. So you have several positions that are going to be important. So you're going to have your rescuer. That's the person that's going over the edge with the backpack, monitor, and or victim harness if needed. You're going to have your edge person. That's the person that's hopefully going to keep the rescuer in sight, but they're going to be the coordinator between the hauling team and the rescuer and making sure everybody's working together so you bring people up efficiently and you don't drop anybody. The safety person, they're going to be checking everybody. So they're going to check your rescuer to make sure all the connections are secure, everything is locked. Same thing with the rope system. They're going to do a double check and make sure all the carabiners are locked and everything is set. Your haul team, basically they're your muscle. They are going to pull on the rope and bring the rescuers up, and they're also going to be in charge of resetting the system when needed and making sure everybody gets up to the top.